Welcome to today's video where I'm going to be revisiting Looxi Beauty. I know. If you've been on my channel for at least the last 2 years, you might have seen my video on Looxi Beauty 2 years ago where I decided that I was going to take a break from Looxi. Some of the reasons being there are no swatches on multiple skin tones. They always only have one set of swatches. Two, those swatches are not very accurate in what the actual eyeshadow looks like once you get it and once you use it, once you swatch it, etc. And then number three, they don't really have a social media presence, which I guess you don't really need to have it, but I think in this day and age, I think it's pretty important to kind of keep in touch sort of with your customer audience for numerous different reasons. They are known for just dropping random collections and usually just get an email, which is how this happened, how I got this collection. They send an email that there's something new launching either the same day, maybe the next day. Sometimes they'll post on IG about it. For this collection, they did not. They only sent out an email, and you might be wondering why I'm revisiting them now. And it's really because I would like to find some more affordable options for some beautiful, shiny, shifty eyeshadows, and there's really not that many brands that do offer such a low price point, because usually a lower price point means that you really get what you pay for. So these shadows are all $3 each. They do have sales, but they go down to $2.50 each. And then this whole bundle was only $21. Which is really a steal. Now, not all of these are necessarily multi-chromes. Some of these are definitely more duochromes or just special kind of shimmers, more like the way they look on the lid. Now, I have a bunch more shadows than just this collection that I'm going to be talking about in this video. So I do have like all these other shades that I have collected since, I believe the first time I started ordering again was maybe June or May or something like that of this year. But that's going to be a separate video that is, you know, quite a bit of swatches to do, swatch comparisons, etc. So today I'm just going to be focusing on the newest collection, which is 7 new shadows. And there is a variety for sure. Something I've noticed so far revisiting Looxi is there are a couple of different textures that they offer. And if you're interested to see a lot more Looxi content, definitely make sure you check out Catherine B Beauty and Hot Vegan Hannah. I will link their channels down below. They have so much Looxi content on their channels. Definitely highly recommend checking their videos out and subscribing. So of course I'm going to show you some swatch comparisons, and I'm honestly, spoiler alert, a little bit surprised on just how more on the unique side some of these shades are. I wouldn't say like they're completely unique. And then I'm going to be creating 2 looks, and then I'll give you some of my thoughts at the end of the video. So let's get right into it. First look, I'm going to dip into the Surge palette from Blend Money Cosmetics, and I'm actually going to go into the neon called Shocked over here. Whoa, that looks extra bright on screen. And I'm going to use this as like a little pop of color on the inner lid and just a little bit down into my inner corner as well. And with neons, you definitely want to pack and then blend, and then probably pack again, because they do tend to be very thin, and that is just the nature of the pigment. So I'm just kind of feathering it out a little bit here. I'm going to take a different brush with some setting powder just to go over the edges and diffuse that a little bit more. Next, I'm dipping into the Forget Me Not palette, Face and Eye palette from Blend Money Cosmetics. And I'm picking up Anticipation and putting that right into the crease and slowly and gently blending it into that neon once it approaches that. And then just blending it. I'm probably going to have to go back in with the neon. But so far, so good. Picked up Here and Now and putting it onto the outer corner. Just a little bit, just to deepen up a little bit, because I always do that. I just feel like I need that depth, that contrast. And I'm just going to keep it very controlled in this outer corner. Just popping on a little bit more there. And then just blending out the edges with whatever is left on my brush. So for the shimmer, I'm going to go in with Gold Rush, which is this really beautiful metallic goldy green shifting kind of shadow. And I'm trying to pick it up on this flat brush from Blend Bunny, and it's not really picking up, so I just want to see how it applies without anything. So no primer, not dampening the brush. Definitely think that dampening the brush a little bit might help. So I'm gonna pick it up on this brush the best I can. I think this is pretty good, and I'm just gonna mist it with a little bit of water and then go over that and see. I definitely feel like that helped, but also because that was a second layer I was putting on. And then on the inner portion, I'm going to go in with Shimmy, which is this beautiful yellow based shifting shadow. I see like purple, pink in it, blue, so much dimension. And I'm going to do the same thing because it picked up just a little bit flaky, and I'm just going to mist it a little bit, help it spread out. And that's going to go layer over the inner corner. I feel like this one's looking a little bit chunky. Probably best to use this shade with just a finger or something to help it smooth out a bit. It just needs that pressure. And I'm also going to pop that on the inner corner, just a tad. Finishing off this look with Here and Now underneath my lower lash line, just connecting with the outer corner, and I'm pretty much going to leave it like this. Here's the first finished look. Onto the second look, I'm using the Forget Me Not palette from Blend Bunny again, and I'm going in with Together right into the crease and a little bit onto the outer corner. Just blending it all around and really just blowing it out. And then on the lid, I'm going to go in with In the Plan. And just going to slowly work it all the way around on my lid, and then slowly bring it up into my crease, but just very little. I don't want it to be, I don't want it to overtake the look. Going back in with Together, just a tiny bit on the brush, just feathering this out a bit more and creating a outer V shape. And the shade I'm going to be going in with is a little bit less shiny, so I'm going to go in with the Fanny Pixie Epoxy, and I like to just kind of tap it out on my lid, take any excess off. And the shade is Razzle Dazzle, and I mean, look at that. This is such a beautiful neutral shadow. Just picking it up on this What's Up Beauty R106 brush. This is how it picked up. I had to kind of go back and forth a little bit. Oh yes, that is so beautiful, layered over the matte. And then I'm just gonna bring it up a little bit into my crease, and I'm just gonna go in with a little bit more out here. Just really layer it on. And I love how that looks. That is so pretty. It's still not like this level of shiny. It's definitely a little bit softer, but it's so beautiful, and I can see like a purple shift happening on the outer corner there. Finishing off this look with In the Plan underneath my lower lash line. Picked up Razzle Dazzle on this small pencil brush, and I misted it, and I'm actually going to layer it over here. I just feel like it's going to connect it all really nicely. Definitely love that. And here's the second finished look. So I didn't film this look, but I am wearing the Viseart Dark Mattes palette for the mattes. And then on the lid, I have the shade Groovy Baby, which this shade, almost a dupe, direct dupe to the shade Royal Pear, which is an Earth Vibrant Multichrome from Clionadh, but this one is definitely shinier and I think just more dimensional. I did put it over a tacky primer, and honestly, I'm not really like too impressed on how this looks, but it's a very satin-like finish, and I totally understand that some people might absolutely love that. For me personally, I usually want a little bit more sparkle. So overall, between these shades and then these shades I already purchased before this one that I'm going to be doing a separate video on, one of the formulas that Looxi does offer. So this is a more subtle, less shiny, less sparkly formula. This feels a little bit more like a regular kind of standard shimmer shadow. On par with that is the Razzle Dazzle shade. This one also doesn't have much shine to it. This one is really beautiful, very dimensional, but not very shiny. So I think from this collection specifically, the shiniest ones are for sure Liquid, as well as Glitz and Ritz and Gold Rush, and these actually feel very like thick and waxy when you swatch them. Like they feel like they have a lot of binder in them, and when I was swatching them over a tacky primer, they really did not want to mesh with it. They didn't want to layer on top of it. It was really interesting to try to layer them over the tacky primer. I'm not sure if it was just the specific type of primer, maybe it was just a Fairnight Pixie Epoxy that these did not agree with, but I would have to try them over another tacky primer. But because they are a little bit on the thicker side, I do feel like I might experience some sort of creasing with these shades. Now, from previous shadows that I have tested, because again, like I said, I have all these other shadows, I have been wear testing these, and these have also various formulas. I have definitely experienced some sort of creasing. It's not extreme by any point, and I don't really mind creasing at all. As long as the shadow doesn't completely disintegrate on my lid, I'm totally fine with just tapping it out throughout the day if I feel like it, if I feel like it's necessary. There are some shadows that are a little bit more on the neutral side that you might get away with. You might not even be able to tell that they're really creasing unless you're really up and close, especially if you're not really putting them with any colorful matte shadows that will make the shimmer kind of stand out and make it a little bit more obvious to see the creasing. So I can safely say that so far the shadows that I've tried from Looxi, they do not disintegrate on me. I can just tap them out. They do crease, so keep that in mind. If you have hooded oily lids and are prone to creasing, then definitely something to be aware of. I don't really care. I think $3 is a steal for something this dimensional and this beautiful with a variety of textures. I don't think it's a big deal. If I'm just strictly speaking about the shadows themselves and not the brand, I would say that these are totally worth checking out, especially if you're on a budget. You don't want to necessarily invest into multi-chromes. You want to just dip your toes in a little bit. You want just something a little bit special. That being said, speaking about the entirety of the brand, we have been saying for how many years that, oh, hopefully they will improve on the swatches. Hopefully they will be more accurate. Hopefully they will add more swatches on different skin tones. It is now 2023 and we're still saying it, and it just feels like the brand is not listening. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand a little bit with the fact that they don't have a social media presence. Obviously, maybe it's partially because they're able to keep the cost down, because they're not really advertising too much outwardly, and that is costly. They're not paying for swatches, they're not paying for advertisement, they're not paying for sponsored posts, etc. But I think there's a disconnect between the brand, the people buying the shadows, and I think it's about just feeling like we are not being heard, and also feel like some of the shifts are not really existent once you get the shadows. Again, this might not totally matter to you at all because they are $3, but as a consumer that is spending money in general, $3 adds up. $21, you buy another collection, another $21, then you already have $42 you've spent on this brand and have received a product that is not accurate. I think that was really my main point of the previous video, because you can easily excuse the swatch inaccuracy by the fact that these are so cheap. So it's kind of like what you get for $3. Like, what do you expect? There's nothing wrong with the way that these shadows look in person. I would just love to see some more accurate swatches of these. They're still very, very beautiful, and a lot of people like sheerer shadows because there is just something to more topper-like shadows that are just so versatile, and I think a lot of these are just that, and I think that these would sell just as well if they had more accurate swatches at this price point. So I just hope you know where I'm coming from, but obviously I've purchased from them again. I'm giving them another try, and I think especially nowadays, in this day and age when everything is expensive, it is nice to have this option, especially for something that is fun and gets you to be a little bit creative. So in conclusion, I really enjoy these shadows. I have zero regrets. $21 right here. I think there are a good option out there, but let me know your thoughts on all of that, and also let me know which shades are your favorite and if you pick this collection up, and stay tuned for a video featuring all the rest of these Looxi shadows. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.